Hello and welcome to insert Star Trek name here.
We're still working on that one, and I nearly went that's Star Wars. Oh bollocks, I got it wrong.
You don't even really like Star Wars, right?
Oh no, don't say that. I just realised that the first three films, i.e. 4, 5 and 6, are incredibly slow and boring when you go back and watch them now, compared to everything else that's been created since. And I've got to say, as much as people slam it, and we've said about it before with the Disney Star Wars being a Star Wars for this generation, it's my Star Wars for my I like it.
Yeah.
I think it's good, it's fast, it's action-filled, it's what I want. I've watched the old ones and I think, fuck me, I'm a bit bored now.
Have you seen any of the things, this is Star Trek, not Star Wars, but we're into it now, tough, go with us, where they
Look,
have
we're
like
slamming it, okay? You'll like
different
it.
scenarios of how they could have blown up the Death Star. And one of them is where Obi-Wan is fighting Darth Vader and he just turns his lightsaber on and drops it. And it goes straight through the Death Star and everyone just gets sucked into the vacuum.
I've seen that. But can I also point out, I don't think you really need plans. If you see a giant skeletal structure of something the size of a moon being built, you should probably try and attack it at that point.
Yeah, kind of.
Unless it came out of the ground. That's the one bit I didn't like in the latest Star Wars. All of the Imperial ships slowly coming out of the ground and being raised up by the Emperor at that point on the death planet. It's like, okay.
I'm not a scientist, but don't a big vessel like that, would it kind of have its own kind of gravitational well?
It's not just to do with that. It's the fact that they're all buried underground. They've all got a fully equipped staff and canteen, no doubt. And it's just, why is it being built underground in the ground? Anyway, right, Star Trek.
Enter authorization code.
So Star Trek, well, neither of us have actually watched any new Star Trek that we want to talk about.
No, we're behind on Lower Decks.
But I do want to have a semi-recurring feature other than the one that we do have, and that is, you've got a pretty decent Star Trek knowledge.
I'd like to think
right
so, but I'm sure people will tell me I haven't when they hear me talk about it.
I don't care what they say. I care what you say.
I don't care what they say.
And I pitched you this
anyway.
idea earlier today, and it was Tom's Trek Trivia, right? That's not the title I'm going to keep, but that's the card we're having right now. I'll think of something better. And what it is...
Yeah, I don't want to be known as the TTT.
There's elements... Yeah. You'll have a different cloak. There's elements of Star Trek, sorry Tom, that I don't understand because my memory's terrible.
Fair enough.
I'm not particularly clever enough for some of the sci-fi bits. And one that is really bugging me at the moment is help me pronounce her name, Noonien Singh. Noonien Singh. And her relationship with Khan. I do not understand any of the Khan stuff or anything, so I'm challenging you. In 30 seconds, I'm going to set a timer on my phone. You've got 30 seconds to explain to me and the viewer, listener, whatever you want to call it, what the fuck is going on. Okay.
And you know what? You even warned me about this, and I didn't even bother researching it. And I'm now really panicking, thinking I should have actually researched this a little bit more.
So let me get my timer up on my phone. Would you like to take a moment to think about it?
No. I'm going to go for it.
And are you ready, Tom?
As ready as I can be.
Starts now.
Okay, so Earth went through a really shit time, as we know in First Contact. Okay, we turn up and they've just survived the whole war thing and they're coming into warp. Oh, Jesus fucking
Showing in
Christ.
the time, 20 seconds.
So during that time and a little bit further on, genetics then come about and the genetic wars where basically they try and make humans far better. It gets outruled because those humans are just absolute arseholes and they try and take over the world and they're sent out into space and relegated from space. And Khan Noonien Singh came from the scientist called Noonien Singh. Yes, I know.
We're done right. I have no idea who Khan is. Sorry, come back with us next time for Star Trek Trivia with Tom.
I am going to finish describing this one.
It's the Star Wars music
Star Wars again. Okay. The Khan Noonien Singh is a genetically modified human being from the era of Earth where genetics were considered, is it a good idea to make superior human beings?
Yes, it is.
They were then created. They then tried to take over the Earth, and they were relegated from Earth. And the Noonien Singh we know in Strange New Worlds is from the same family of basically the creator that did the genetic work. And yeah, she's hated for that exact reason.
So she's hated because she's a descendant of these people that were part of this original...
Correct. And then if you get to, and this is the one bit of knowledge I am happy with, the original series, the episode is called Space Seed. They come across what they think is a derelict ship, and it's cryogenically frozen Khan and his crew, who then try and take over the Enterprise and carry on their wrong ways by proving that they're all slightly nutcase and they just want to take over and be the higher being.
Right, now I want you to enter where I'm really confused. How can she go back? She, who is before when...
No, she's just in the family. It's a family name, and family names go on for years and years and years.
I know, but she knows who Khan is. The actual Khan, right?
No, she doesn't.
No, she goes back in time in Strange New Worlds and sees Khan as a child. She knows who he is.
Oh, yes.
But she is a timeline before, from what I know, that Captain Kirk has met Khan. Captain Kirk isn't Captain Kirk yet in her timeline. He's still...
Well, yeah, no, Strange New Worlds, obviously, the time in both their timeline at that point is before he takes control of the Enterprise.
So, how does she know who Khan is when he, from what I don't understand, that the things he has done hasn't been done yet?
No, what more doesn't make sense is, how can she meet Khan as a child? Okay, no, so the time they go back in time, and that's before... So he's been genetically modified already, and he's growing up genetically modified.
Yeah.
And it must be when he's grown up that they get relegated from Earth and it's outlawed. But what then doesn't really make sense is, surely she should have been outlawed as well if she's part of the genetic modified, unless they weren't as genetic modified and there was a specific cut-off point for what's been done to them and what hasn't been done to them.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm not sure at that point then. But in theory, it's a family tree, and she knows a Khan, because she's gone back and met, but because he is from their family.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's jumping around all over the place. I will tell you it properly next week. I will do proper research on it, and I will try that 30-second challenge again and see if I can do it next time.
Then next week is this same challenge again, 30 seconds.
2 weeks' time. Next episode, we mean.
Shit.
Yeah, I know. I did the same.
Accessing library computer data.
So, we watched an episode of...
You chose Voyager.
Voyager. So it was season 2...
Episode 15.
Episode 15, Threshold.
Threshold, you say?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, but they say it every fucking minute of that episode.
They said it a lot. Wasn't it a sexy episode too? Did you get that?
Yeah.
There was a lot. Everything seemed like a sexual innuendo, and
was.
I feel like
so
Janeway
was.
was just after.
Oh, she's moist for Paris
all the way through.
Oh, sorry, I can't really believe I just said she's moist for Paris. That's just really.
I missed that.
It's
yeah,
grim.
She was moist and thought he was lush. They were. So let me give you a synopsis.
Yeah,
of the
right.
episode.
Yeah, give us a synopsis of the episode as best as you can. Kind of one paragraph. Explain to the listeners that may not have seen the episode Threshold.
So,
Go.
Tom Paris, Dirty Kim, and Half-Breed are trying to get to Warp
You
10.
can't call them that.
I can never remember their names.
Right. Tom Paris,
Dirty
Harry
Kim,
Kim,
Dirty Kim.
Balana Torres.
Oh yeah, Planetoid. Sorry, not Half-Breed. Right.
I'm just going down the route that's just really racist.
That was
I
racist.
think.
Yeah, sorry about that, everyone. Sorry to all the half Klingons out there. The
You xenophobic
yeah,
twat.
yeah, you naughty boy. They are trying to get to Warp 10, and they want to be the first people to get to Warp 10. Spoilers. No spoilers. You all should have watched it. There's no spoilers here.
Threshold.
You've had 2 weeks to watch Threshold. So they get to warp 10. Well, what happens is Tom Paris ends up being everywhere in the universe all at once and starts mega revolving. And apparently in the future, we mega evolve into newts.
Sexy newts.
Things happen. He gets hold of Janeway. She turns into sexy newts. Sexy time happen. Baby newts. They come back. They're no longer newts anymore. All is well. He wears a really attractive blue nightgown.
He does indeed. Right.
Now, the worst part about this episode is that it only takes about 5 minutes for Neelix to appear.
Okay, right. Now, hang on, right. First of all, I've got a little quiz for you.
Ah, wicked.
I'm a doctor, not a mechanic.
I've got 5 questions. You chose this episode,
Yeah.
so I'm hoping you have the answers to these.
Go on.
So you should, because in theory, if you chose this episode, it means this is an episode you've watched more than once.
Well, or it's a favourite. I've definitely seen this one more than once.
Fine.
I've seen it twice.
Bear in mind, it's rated as the 3rd worst Trek episode
Oh, get stuffed, is it?
in all of Trek.
In all of it, I've seen some pretty howling episodes of Star Trek.
So you've already asked this question, answered even. What warp factor are the crew trying
10,
to achieve
yeah,
or
10.
surpass?
10.
10, aka threshold.
The threshold.
So it just takes me back. There's a Family Guy episode where Peter's in the cinema and he says, I love it in the film when they say the title of the film in the film.
Do it. Let's shave the cat. Oh, boy, I usually only get this excited when they say the title of a movie in the movie.
I'm telling you, these drug dealers represent a clear and present danger to the United States.
He said it. He said it.
All I'm saying is, what if this is as good as it gets?
There it is. There it is.
The only way for me to solve this crisis is to be Superman 4, The Quest for Peace.
Oh, that's why they call it that.
Oh no, he's gone past the threshold.
It's like they're looking to cameras like, the threshold. And then they're back again.
Okay. Who comes up with the solution to the problem?
Fucking Neelix does.
Yeah, I've got Neelix.
I don't really think he does, actually. Dirty Kim is actually, I think, the one who really comes up with the...
What percentage chance of an issue did the Doctor think
2%.
Paris would have?
This is such
2%.
bollocks.
Boom.
2%.
Yeah, but right, no, I'm not even going to say
We'll
that
get
because
there,
we
we'll
will
get
discuss that as we discuss the episode. This I really hope you get because it would just show how geeky you are.
Yeah, go on.
What was the issue that would stop Paris?
What, his reasoning to stop
No,
him?
that the Doctor's reasoning. There is a specific thing wrong with Tom that 2% could
It was
cause
like a
problem.
brain hemorrhage or something is what it was that was going to do to him.
It was an enzymatic imbalance.
Oh, an enzymatic imbalance. Yeah,
Of
it's just
course it
fucking
was.
bullshit chat, isn't it? Future
Okay.
chat.
And we'll see if you get this one because this makes me angry. Well, it doesn't get me angry, but we'll talk about it. What does Chakotay shout before he shoots the sex newts?
Doesn't he say, like, I don't know which one is the girl or which one is the boy? Says something like that, doesn't he?
No, he just opens fucking fire on him. He doesn't say a goddamn thing.
No, because then Tuvok makes a
Tuvok goes,
joke.
Yeah, well, that one's got the female bits. Yeah, I'm glad you've been perving at them Tuvok.
You
but,
know, no, he says something like that, doesn't he? He's like, which one's...
Yeah, that one's
I don't
got
know
neat
which
tits.
one's the girl and which one's the boy. And he goes... And then he does make a bit of a comment like that, doesn't it?
yeah, but basically, before all of that it's before that. Chakotay, they come through the bush. They're heading through the bush, and you go, beep, 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 with the tricorder. It's like, they're over here. They walk up, and Chakotay just goes, yeah.
He just zaps
Hang
him.
on a moment.
Yeah.
Are you on stun? Are you on kill level 10? You just open fire, do you?
He's like, yeah, you can imagine if he shoots the first one and they just evaporate and goes, oh, fuck.
Just turns out
and
as
he
well.
just like looks at his, oh, shit,
Oh,
I'm,
there's so
I'm
much
on,
to
I'm
talk
on
about.
murder.
There's so much to talk about. Let's go back.
Turn evaporate down to 0.
Yeah. We all didn't see that, did we, guys?
Yeah. To where,
Tuvok,
where's
you're going to lie on your report.
Where's Tuvix?
Okay, right. Hang on a moment.
He's dead, Jim.
I can't believe this was rated the 3rd worst Star Trek.
Oh,
Do you
yes.
agree with that? So I'm getting high pitched.
I thought it was an okay episode. It is shit, but well, it's not shit. It is bad, but it's not. It's not the worst.
I think the acting isn't very good, but I just think it's just a silly episode.
It is. It's a bit of fun.
Well, it's good enough to make it into Lower Decks.
Well, exactly.
Or maybe it's bad enough to make it into Lower Decks. Maybe that's why Lower Decks put it in there.
That's a very big possibility. So I've got here we go. Little Tommy Paris is in a shuttle trying to get to Transwarp working. And then I couldn't remember if they'd built the Delta Flyer yet. But that's later, isn't it?
No, they haven't built the Delta Flyer yet.
They never go to Transwarp again, though, do they?
No, never again. Never happens again, as far as I'm aware.
So...
It's only season 2. There's like multiple seasons of this. It's like 7 or 8 seasons of it.
And I brought this up in my chat. I don't know. Again, I've watched Star Trek way more than you, obviously.
Sorry, is there... Can you hear that out
Yeah, dickheads who live down the road who like putting big exhausts on their crappy car.
So no one else could hear that. It was really bugging me when you were talking.
No, it really bugs me as well living near them, because you see what happens every year. He goes for his MOT, comes back, and then he puts the new exhaust back on.
Yeah, an idiot.
Yeah, I can't
Sorry
stand
for
anyway.
that interruption.
Right, so notes I've got here. He's doing this to get to Transwarp, yeah?
Yes.
So in the search for Spock,
Yeah.
the Excelsior's in space dock, and Scott, I think it's the search for Spock, pretty sure it is. Scotty throws a spanner in the works and breaks their Transwarp drive.
Right.
And that's a long time before Voyager.
Yeah.
That's original series era of Star Trek. So Transwarp already exists at that point. And it's not like they say, oh, this Transwarp drive is in being testing before it's being rolled out. But it's not theoretical testing. It's we've put it on what's going to be our new frontline ship here. Because even the captain of it, before he realises it's been sabotaged, is they're not going to get away. The new Transwarp drive will easily get past them.
Yeah.
And the Enterprise at that point's got Warp 9 capable, so yeah, I'm sorry. Transwarp already exists.
Well, the Voyager, I think it went up to like 9.6 or 9.8 before the ship was shaking. They had to slow down or something, didn't
Yeah,
they?
exactly. Yeah, it gets 9.8, but then also the Voyage Home Star Trek film, they get to 9.8 as they slingshot round the sun to do time travel. So
you can time travel,
and
at
that's in a
9.8.
crappy Bird of Prey a fair few years before Voyager again. So I'm sorry, but I'm kind of feeling like a little bit they're kind of just jumping the shark a little bit, just going, yeah, you know what, we'll say Transwarp doesn't exist. It already existed in canon.
Yeah.
So that kind of then led to the next bit for me as well. And sorry, I'm talking about this so much already at the very beginning of it. And maybe that's why people don't like the episode. In The Next Generation, there is a whole episode dedicated to this alien species who are on the Enterprise, trying to get them to listen to their plea about these anomalies that are opening up in space.
Yeah.
I think it's either season 1 or season 2. And the resulting of it is one of the alien scientists commits suicide to prove his point that anything above warp 9, I think it's anything above warp 9, or it might be warp 8, or no, it's warp 9, I think. Anything above warp 9 is opening up space tears in space and causing these anomalies which are destroying his solar system.
Yeah.
And that's anywhere in space this is happening. So then there's a whole, they even say in the episode, from now on, unless there's a life or death absolute situation, Starfleet will no longer go above warp whatever it is.
Right.
And then we've got Voyager here going, yeah, well, it's not our quadrant, is it? Fuck them.
Yeah.
We'll just tear some holes in the anomalous space here, and we'll just destroy it. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, getting back to the episode,
those bits kind of bugged me. They were the bits that bugged me about the episode. That's where I'm honest. That's where I can see it fell down, and maybe that's why it got rated as it did.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're on the holodeck anyway. They're doing a test run, and they find
that initial bit, yeah,
and it fails and fails and fails. And I made a comment of, well, he turned it off.
Why
and
is he sat on the floor?
And he sat on the floor. So did he fall to the floor because he was in a seat?
Well, exactly, because he's not like sat on the floor with his legs straight out in front of him on that he's sat on a seat. Yeah, where's the seat gone?
And then I made the comment on Discord. I was like, if he was on a gantry in the holodeck, a holodeck gantry, and they turned it off, would he plummet a whole floor to the ground?
Questions that never get answered about the holodeck. The people that are up, 10 floors up in a skyscraper looking over a beautiful planetscape, and the people down on the ground. When it turns off, what do they suddenly see?
Yeah, how does that work?
I think it's some... I've forgotten if it's explained in... It's either explained in TNG or it might even be explained in Voyager. They say basically each person is seeing their own part of it, so it's all projected around
it's
them.
All hard, like
so it's like imagine you've got
Yeah.
a kind of circle around you being drawn at all time. And then when you're stood next to someone who's in the same place as you, it joins up and
you're
they're
walking
seeing the
on
same
like a
bit.
treadmill, maybe. You're not actually moving around the holodeck.
Well,
if you're walking upstairs,
they tried
it's creating
to say
things
that, yeah,
in front of
basically your brain is subconsciously being turned all the time by the holodeck. So you think you're walking a straight line, but actually you're walking around a curve. But what you're seeing is a straight line. So that's how they've tried to get around it, I believe.
Yeah, that's why. And another comment I made, because we've talked about it before on Lower Decks about cleaning the dirty. I would hate to go in. I'd hate to be the man cleaning it after Dirty Kim's been in there.
Yeah, he is up there with Geordie LaForge. Let's face it. Geordie wants a girlfriend. He's in that. We even see he creates a fucking fake version of a Starfleet person and falls in love with her. You know, he's been there late at night, half cut. I'm getting that program on.
I've seen interviews with both of them, and they've both said how they didn't like how their characters were being portrayed in certain episodes.
Yeah, LeVar Burton, he's the most lovely person in the world.
Yeah.
And you look at all the good stuff he's done for charity and everything else, and then you look at his character, and he's such a horrible, dirty lech. Anytime a woman's mentioned, he's worse than Riker.
And he's a bit of a knob as well in Picard, isn't he, at the beginning of the Picard bits? A bit of a knob.
Yes, but I think the idea of that is because he feels like he went off to carry on doing Starfleet stuff. Riker's gone off and done his own stuff. And then basically they're just coming to him because they need help rather than staying in contact with him as a friend.
Yeah.
That's kind of what that felt like, I guess. But yeah, Dirty Kim, as you call him, same reasoning again. Everything about him is either getting his promotion or getting laid. And I know it's not about getting it in his eyes, and what it's portrayed as is he just wants a relationship and to be happy. But it's so lechy.
It is lechy, yeah. And like the first episode that 7 of 9's in, and he's just like ogling over. I was like, yeah, okay, we get it. She's extremely attractive, but he's lechy in that.
Yes.
Which is why I call him Dirty Kim. So we get the greatest intro of all time.
I don't know. I prefer the DS9 music.
Yeah,
I like the French horns.
Well, it's just something about Voyager. It just tickles me, Voyager.
And but Voyager is your Star Trek, and I didn't realise how late it was. 1995 it first aired, and I don't think I ever watched an episode of Voyager until I didn't even know Voyager existed until 99, 2000.
Yeah.
And that's when I started catching up on it. I think it was because BBC Two started showing it on Trek Tuesday or Thursday, and that's when I started watching it and got really into it.
And then we have a really good intro. And then within minutes, we've got Neelix.
So I've got written, "Oh, piss off, Neelix. How on earth can you help?"
And I wrote, "Fuck me, Neelix immediately. He's such a nosy bastard."
And then, "Oh, seriously, Neelix has the answer. Oh, I hate him."
These people are natural-born idiots, if you ask me.
Yeah, and then my next comment is, "Look how innocent Kim looks." Because this is only series 2. This is pre Dirty Boy.
Yeah, absolutely. This is still, I'm looking good in the eyes of the captain.
Is it one
trying
pip?
to be squeaky clean, and he hasn't been promoted.
He's got 1 pip or 2 pip. He'll have 2 because Paris.
Yeah, 2 because he gets promoted at the end of the series, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, then I wrote, "Look how innocent Kim looks before 7 and all the other crushes spoil him."
Can I also just point out, you said, "Fucking Neelix." I didn't like Les either. Kez. We know you meant Kez.
Yeah, Kez. And then it
dawned on me I think that should be a new name.
If I write that,
Piss licks and Les.
where have I written that?
Oh my god, I didn't see that before.
Where have I written that?
You've written, I've done Opus of Neelix. Oh, you've done it in your...
Oh, have I written it on yours?
You've done it as a reply, so yeah, it's under my section.
Oh, I got to go back just to see what I wrote. Hang on.
But I'm just going to say, thinking about it today, I don't like Kez as a character. I don't like Neelix as a character. What I really don't like is the idea that I'm pretty sure that she says, I'm about 1 year old when they rescue her.
Yeah.
Which means Neelix says he's been trying for ages to get her back. He's been cracking that one since she was pre-1 years old. And I don't care if you're an alien race or not. There is no way in 1 year you can do a whole kids, teenage, young adult amount of information to someone. It's just creepy.
I never clocked that until you're saying it now.
It's creepy as fuck. I mean, them being 1 year old and being treated as a full-on adult is creepy as it is. But then to think that basically Neelix has been trying to nail it before that, it just makes it really creepy.
Oh, yeah, I found it. Fucking Neelix. I didn't like Les either. Kes. Bloody Les. I think we should name her that now. Pisslicks and Les. Yeah.
So annoyingly, Neelix does have the answer.
Annoyingly,
I hate that.
He does come up with the, pushes them to the solution.
And I've got to say as well, you saying about earlier that you weren't smart enough for the science. That's one thing that is always argued about. Star Wars say, we're all about the story. Star Trek has always been jokes about being trekking the trek. It's always been kind of science and technology side of it. They really jumped the shark with saying, it's not the nacelles coming off. It's the shuttlecraft's body coming off. That's the same fucking thing.
The thing you'll notice, I think, about Voyager is that... I think I just knocked the mic. They love saying the Star Trek words, but I don't think they really put them in anything that makes sense.
No, they're no data.
Whereas I think that all the other Star Treks actually do really, particularly the new ones like Strange New Worlds and Lower Decks, do really good at actually doing Trek.
It actually feels like they're talking about real things in those.
Yeah, whereas I just think they just wanted to say the word nacelles.
They wanted to say nacelles. They wanted to say enzymatic imbalance. They wanted to say shit.
It
basically.
means nothing.
Yeah.
It means nothing in Voyager.
It's twaddle.
You've got to just... I think it's like the writers in it weren't Star Trek writers in some way.
I don't know if it improves in the later seasons. And I've got to watch the whole of it again. I've got to say, I've struggled to watch through the whole of season 1 and keep going. It felt like I've watched it a couple of times. I don't have a need to watch it again anymore. I want to watch it from the beginning and get all the way to the end. Because when they get into the whole Borg stuff's
great, yeah.
It's brilliant. But these first couple of seasons are quite hard going.
Yeah, I can see that.
I can't wait for one of us to choose the episode where the aliens have overrun Voyager and they're basically living in the holodeck and they're all living out kind of World War II with aliens.
Yeah, we'll get there.
That's a really good episode. So anyway, they get to Warp 10. They break the threshold.
Yeah.
And by this point, they've said threshold, 30 times?
They've been named a few times, yeah. And then they are talking about it in the ready room. And Janeway is fucking all over him.
Oh, God, yeah.
She cannot take her eyes off him, and she's complimenting him, and yeah. There's tension there.
She wanted a bad boy. That's why she went to prison to get him.
Yeah.
She didn't choose Prison Pigeon. She chose him.
Yeah, Prison Pigeons never got over that.
Can you imagine that in the Star Trek? In fact, we've got to write to Lower Decks and say, in the next series, can you have a Star Trek character based on a pigeon, please?
Yeah, can you, please?
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. There is a lot of sexual energy going on between them.
I wrote a comment about that, and I wrote, she's really flirting with Paris. She just can't wait to bump lizard uglies with him. So this is what you're missing not being on Discord.
Yeah, and interestingly, so I think this is before Janeway goes and tells him that it can't happen, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I put here, excluding Picard, because genuinely with Picard you do get it, especially when you go back to the episode where they lose what's her name to the Black Blob.
Yeah.
Excluding Picard for a subset of his staff, you do get a good feeling that Janeway cares for the crew.
Yes.
You do just feel like she is being the best captain she can be. And she genuinely has the want to look after the crew. There isn't a this and them sort of feeling from her.
Yeah, I get that.
And then I've also got here, I love the Doctor.
The Doctor is one of the best characters in Star Trek.
Full stop.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He's really good. Even especially when they do like the episodes that are just him, like when he gets the hard light kind of thing attached to him.
Sorry, Red Dwarf there.
Yeah, and then he gets the transponder lets him walk around the ship.
Yes.
And then he gets it upgraded and he can come off the ship.
Well, again, he's
mobile
the one
emitter, they call it a
the
mobile
emitter.
Yeah.
He's the one that saves the day in that episode I was talking about with the aliens in the World War II, because he gets powered on, doesn't he, to help heal them so they can go back into the holo game, as it was. So we've got to enzymatic imbalances at this point.
Yeah.
And so, first of all, I've got written here, I don't know what you wrote, pretty sure 2% chance on Voyager is the same as 100%.
Yeah, pretty much. And I think it's actually pretty good odds for being on a spaceship in space.
It's kind of a really shitty thing. The Doctor says he doesn't think you should do it. Harry Kim, on the other hand, is absolutely fine to do it. A 2% chance. What's the chance they're going to die just flying Voyager every day?
Yeah, going
in a
into
quadrant
warp.
they don't know, with not enough dilithium, no coffee on board, because she's always after that fucking coffee. I'm sure that percentage goes up every day.
But the thing about warp, right, is that they need to make sure they're not going to warp into a planet on their way, right?
Yes.
So that's what the computer's doing. It knows where all the planets are. So you can, okay, I can warp you to here. I've got to figure out the journey. You can't do that in a quadrant that you don't know where the planets are.
I'd never even thought about that. But then again, didn't they just still all get star charts off Neelix's?
Yeah, probably. Because I think that's what they do pretty well in Star Wars. You see it like, setting up the hyperdrive, and it takes a long time. Because it's not just charging up. I think it's the computer figuring out, can you fucking do it or not?
How long before you can make the jump to light speed?
Take a few moments to get the coordinates from the navicomputer.
Are you kidding? At the rate they're gaining?
Traveling through hyperspace ain't like dust and crops, boy. Without precise calculations, we'd fly right through a star or bounce too close to a supernova, and that'd end your trip real quick, wouldn't it?
Well, and they do it quite well, don't they? Is it in Solo, the film called Solo, where he's got to do the multiple jumps, and they do the whole whatever the famous run is that he did at speed, the Kessel Run. They do it well because they show he's like, the amount of calculations I need to do this, and it's exactly. They do it really well in that. Whereas this is almost always like plot a course, 2 seconds later, make it so.
But of the comment I'm making about this, so he has a 2% chance of, I'm calling it a brain hemorrhage because that's just easier, of happening to him when he's on the shuttle. Now, if they implement this onto the actual ship, he still has the same 2% chance because he's still on a ship.
Yes.
Doing the transwarp. What fucking difference does it make? Whether he's doing it on the shuttle or doing it in the ship. So she's willing to put his life at risk when it's on the ship and can get her home, but she's not willing to do it when it's just him risking it.
Oh, so I've got here, feels like Janeway just pulled a Beatles about on him. It's like, oh, sorry, you can't do it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a bummer, isn't it? Only joke. Look, here's Jeremy Beadle with his microphone. He's dressed up as the Doctor.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Tom. You can do it, really.
Yeah, and that weird kimono-esque, really short thing he was wearing was pretty neat costume.
But they've done that before. And don't forget, the early series of TNG.
And then the skirts. So
you've got men walking around in skirts. And it's just, generally accepted that there's all these different types of clothing. And I think that's what Voyager did nicely. The continuation of the uniform design kind of fits in with kind of First Contact and Generations and Deep Space Nine, but they've kept that. No one's frigid anymore. No one cares about whether something's too short or not, so it's there. Why wouldn't it?
And it suited him. I thought it suited him very well. Beautiful colour on him.
So yeah, I've got back to fuck off Neelix. What else?
So I wrote, they're on a giant spaceship in space. There's probably more chance of the spaceship spontaneously combusting than this brain thing the Doctor says that Barris has. And then I wrote, here we go, warp to the factor 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yes. So off he goes in their test shuttle, and they manage to break threshold, but then they lose trace of him. So I made a funny, I went, it's Newt looking good for Tom right now.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
So he does the drive, and then he says something about it plotting loads of star charts. And see Janeway's eyes light up. So,
yeah, going to exactly what you were just saying. So he goes off and they come back. They're checking out the shuttle. And it's like there's not even petabytes. I've forgotten what they say.
There's some stupid number, yeah.
There is just star charts for systems that we've never even got near.
Yeah.
So they've got this huge sun library. But it does then make you wonder, why on earth does Starfleet send out starships when a shuttlecraft can get all of this data back and store it?
Yeah. So now they know they could... was it you that said, why don't they just set the computer up to return the shuttle back?
Yeah, why don't they set it up the second time this is, when they realise that he's lost control? Because, he says, when I was going and we hit transwarp, I felt like I was outside. I felt like I was everywhere all at once. And then I just had this calling to say, come home, and I made it happen. And that's kind of how they left it, a very airy-fairy way of ending that bit. But yeah, they bring back and they find the shuttlecraft, they recover it, and they get all the star charts and so on.
Yeah.
But yeah, wouldn't you put in a computer program to say, after X amount of time, just stop?
Yeah, it's like a drone.
But then again...
This is your home drone.
But if they did that, and it stopped... They've stopped after doing transwarp speed in a sector that they're nowhere near, and Voyager could never go and catch up with him.
Yeah, I suppose.
So then you'd have to say to the computer, return back at transwarp to this same location. So I don't know if that would have actually been possible or not. But it does come into it later, because he steals Janeway, takes her on the shuttlecraft. They go to transwarp. Voyager finds them randomly crashed on a planet. So are we saying that sex newts eventually evolving in this suddenly decided to stop at a planet that was just about nearby for Voyager to find them?
Well, we've walked quite out ahead here.
Let's go back. So they're back, and Tom's basically starting to have a few problems, isn't he?
Yeah, he's going a bit manic.
A little bit manic is I was going to say, Manic's quite a good one. I've got a lot of Starfleet officers have daddy or mummy issues, by the way. Riker and his dad, Paris and his dad, Mariner and his mum. And then we really didn't need to know about his virginity because he's going manic at that point. It's like,
out of the side.
Why have you suddenly brought that up?
Going on about his bedroom when he was a kid and all these things. He says, I lost my virginity there. And even the Doctor's like, aye.
He's like, I'm a hologram and I don't need to know this shit.
Yeah, even I'm embarrassed and I'm a program. Yeah.
I've read your file, Tom, and in the future, we know you lied. You lost your virginity when you were 30.
Yeah. Yeah, with Les. It's weird. And the acting of Tom Paris is weird from now on.
It is, but I can understand why they made it weird, because they're making him evolve and he ends up with nice looking KFC skin. And I've got to say, the prosthetics were really good.
Yeah, the makeup's cool.
I paused it and rewound a couple of times to realise that his neck is pulsating.
Yeah.
So they've put in little bladders here and there to make it do different bits, which it's a little thing, but practical effects just looks so much better than CGI. And when you've actually got something physically pulsating on the side of your head, you can't help but think that looks real.
So what's happening to him is he's they don't know this at that point, but he's speed evolving millennia of human evolution.
Yes.
And also,
which means apparently your tongue drops off.
Oh, that's a gross bit. What a great bit of prosthetics. He pulls his tongue out.
Yeah.
But also his brain activity is getting bigger, so he's getting cleverer. But he's must be hiding it, because you don't get that impression until he escapes.
Yes.
He's hiding it, isn't he? Or at least that's the indication I'm taking from the fact that you don't realise he's super clever until literally he escapes and they go, oh yeah, his brain's firing at whatever.
But we're kind of also skipping a bit here as well, because we'll come back to that, because it's actually a really important bit about B'Elanna and the Doctor. But we're skipping the point, he dies.
Oh, yeah, he dies. Yeah.
So he can't breathe. They manage to get him breathing in a sealed environment, and he dies. Yeah. Everything stops. Well, I particularly like, we've already got the idea that Neelix doesn't particularly like Tom Paris because he thinks Tom Paris is after shagging Kes. And we already know that Kes kind of makes soft little come to bed eyes at Tom Paris.
Gives him a kiss. She doesn't catch any disease.
So my favourite bit is that I've written down was, Doc, it really wouldn't be appropriate to drag Kes in for the choppy chop on Paris's body. Yeah. Because he's like, oh, I'll see you tomorrow morning, Kes, when we'll do an autopsy on Tom.
Yeah, it's really like, yeah.
You might want to do that on your own, Doc, because everyone here kind of liked him.
Yeah, he was a popular dude.
But yeah, then he comes back to life, and I've got, oh shit, son, Tom's a Time Lord now, because he's got 2 hearts.
Yeah, 2 hearts come out of nowhere.
And then, oh, and also, is it me, or did this not go any further? The dickhead trading stuff with the bad guys. You see him.
Oh, yeah, no, because that's a continued story throughout episodes.
Okay, fine. So yeah, this is when Trek suddenly, along with DS9, started going for multiple episodes of the same storyline.
So this is one of the reveals of because I think they're aware that something's happening, or maybe just the people, the viewer is aware that there's a spy on the ship.
Irony.
There's no spiders anywhere to be seen. Tune in last week for that one.
Tune into the main episode to understand what that is.
Would that have been last week's, wouldn't it?
That would have been last week's episode.
Yeah, all spiders are ironic. And so that's just that's a continued story throughout. That so I don't know if this is the moment you actually see.
Oh wait, no, it's next week's episode. Sorry. Just look out for the episode called "Isn't It Ironic?" or whatever. It's something along those lines. Sorry. Yeah, carry on.
Yeah. So I don't know if this is the episode actually the first time you see who the spy is, but I think you kind of because this is episode like 11 of that season, and this is where it's coming through. But you do see that guy earlier on in the background, and the camera kind of focuses a little bit on him, and he kind of turns to the camera like he's listening in to them. Yeah. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that, if this is the only episode like for you, that's a very odd bit, but it is something that's continued.
But it shows you how much I've forgotten about Voyager as well, because I completely forgot that as a storyline going on.
Yeah, I forgot about it too.
So yeah, coming back to it then, especially as we're coming up to 42 minutes at the moment.
Oh gosh,
it's fine. This is a new idea for us, this show, so it's going to be what it's going to be until we've kind of fleshed it out a bit. Yeah. I hate that B'Elanna says the changes that we need to do that the Doctor has asked are going to take 3 hours. She hasn't met Scotty. Scotty has not told her, if it's going to take 1 hour, say 3 hours, because then you're a miracle worker. Yeah. Instead, the Doctor just shouts at her and says, well, you've got an hour or he's dead and we lose him. So she does it in an hour.
Is it just a little...
There's padding your time and there's padding your time. And I don't know if it's a little throwback to TNG
nod?
and
is it
TOS.
Just a nod?
Or is it...
an homage?
Maybe. Fair enough. But then, yeah... Then Tom gets away and he steals Janeway.
Oh no, we've missed the zinger, the Doctor zinger.
Oh,
Have we got to that bit yet? Where they talk about the coffee that Neelix makes, and the Doctor makes the best fucking joke.
oh, yes, you're right. Is that what I'd got written? Oh, yes, that's where I've got Neelix burn number 99999.
Yeah, so I can't remember it now, but somebody says something about it. I know it's when he goes in, he goes, he just had a coffee.
Yeah, well, no wonder he's ill.
Yeah, and he's like, no bloody wonder. He's like, yeah, brilliant. What a sick burn. It comes out of nowhere because it's the Doctor saying it, and it's very funny.
Yeah, so so you're right. That's just as he goes in before he dies.
Yeah, that's before
then
he dies.
he evolves more. Then he escapes. The Doctor says, we have to do this inside of an hour, not 3 hours, B'Elanna. And what they try and do doesn't work. Tom escapes, steals Janeway.
Get into the shuttle.
Does he bite Janeway?
I don't think... you just see him get her in the...
Yeah, so why does she suddenly start evolving at the quickest speed and ending up as a sex newt?
Well, they are on the planet for like 2 weeks or something before Voyager gets there.
Ah,
So-
right. Okay, well, that makes a bit more sense.
So you think she's actually only a couple of days behind him.
Fine.
If you think
Okay,
about
so
how
that
long
would
he was in
explain.
the bed.
Okay, that would explain that, and that would also explain why she turns up in uniform and he's still in his
Yeah.
sexy bed
And
outfit.
he doesn't, I'm just thinking of it now. She only gets infected because he puts her in the shuttle and they go transwarp.
Yeah, they go transwarp. That's what I was trying to work out. Is that why she ends up changing?
Else Les would have got infected. If it's just something that you can get from touching or kissing, well, she kisses him.
But then this also points out that anytime they go above warp 10, this is going to happen.
Yeah.
So problematic for all the other times that maybe they've hit warp 10 in the... Anyway, yeah, and that brings us to my favourite part. You hear them saying, right, oh, they're over here. Pew, pew.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jackote. Just Chakotay. I'm never going to say his name right, am I?
Chakotay.
Jacket Potato. Thanks, Jacket Potato. Yeah, just turns up and just point blank shoots them.
Yeah.
There's no, what do you think? Should we put them in stasis? Shall we beam them up as they are? No, let's shoot them first. We don't know what that's going to do to them. We don't know about their physiology at this point. The last time we saw them, Tom, you could peel off KFC skin, and Janeway was normal. For all we know, even on stun, he's going to blow a hole through one of them.
Yeah.
But no, just straight up there and shoot them.
Yeah, evaporate them. And then there's 3 little ones just swim off. I really, you said it, I think, privately to me. I want Lower Decks to do an episode where there's a whole planet of these newts that have come from those 3 original
That would be
newts.
genius.
That would be so funny.
Yeah, it would be brilliant, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, we've identified a planet of so what about Prime Directive? They don't know if this planet. Well, they know this planet has maybe never been visited. If they're the only life forms on there, and they're not sure that's them, haven't they just broken the Prime Directive by turning up and just shooting 2 unknown life forms?
Who knows?
Oh dear. And then we get to the whole "so we fucked" awkward moment.
Yeah, and like he's apologising to her, and then she goes on to
She goes full Dirty Kim.
She is Dirty Kim. Oh, she is up for it. Like, let me just get my other notes.
Let's not forget she's got a partner waiting at home who's looking after her dogs.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
by the way, that's well remembered, yeah. Talk about Paris fucking his way to the top. He gets a promotion.
Oh, yes.
Doesn't he? So he shags the captain, gets promoted.
Yeah.
And she loved it.
I'm going to promote you. You do not talk about the new babies we made.
Yeah, like, it sounds really awful for me to say. She loved it. And I'm saying that because just the way she's talking to him. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm really sorry. And she's like, well, how do you know there wasn't the female of the species that initiated the sex? And she's like proper staring at him.
Exactly.
And it's a bit gross.
It's full on. I did it. I pinned you down as a newt.
Yeah.
It wasn't you. It was me. I was in control.
And Paris is like, I'm not sure if I consented. Yes.
She didn't ask if he wanted a cup of tea.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. So, what have I wrote? Maybe if Tuvix... Yeah, that was a comment I wrote to myself. So obviously we haven't wrote. People who have watched the last, the Lower Decks will know about Two Vics.
Yes.
That's going to be one of my episodes.
That's got to be because it's such a good episode.
Or yours, you can pick it. But it makes you wonder if I wonder if Two Vics had got on his knees, would he still be alive?
Oh.
So that's one comment. And then I want everybody to watch those last 2 or 3 minutes again. That last interaction. And if you didn't think it was full of sexual innuendo, just watch it again, thinking that it is, and you'll see a completely different ending to episode, which is what I saw. It was all about sex.
I'd written this, by the way, at the end of your talk. I put, because you're saying, Janeway's eyes are lighting up at the prospect of knowing all the star charts, blah, blah, blah. Janeway the Destroyer, if Star Trek was a Marvel product, she destroys everything she can. You think about all the things she does. Two Vics, killed, murdered as lower decks puts it. And just non-stop. Well, even when the Borg, it's like, we'll have a truce, I'm going to destroy them secretly.
Yeah. One thing I forgot to mention, the neural stimulator the Doctor puts on him.
Yes.
It's like putting a defib, but to his brain.
Well, that's it. It's the modern version. It's the brain fib.
So, would you rate it out of...
I'm not... No, let's not do a rating number.
Boo.
I'll just go on there.
No. Just say...
Out of 10...
Yeah, I was going to say proper numbers out of 10.
With all the faults that I found in it, it didn't dissuade from the enjoyment of it. Whether or not I agree with it being the third worst Trek, I don't know, but I'd put it maybe 6 out of 10. 5, 6. It's a fairly middling of the road episode.
Yeah.
I wouldn't give it anything more than that. What about you?
I don't think I should rate it because I chose it.
Oh, fair enough.
So I think you should rate it because you didn't choose it. I've forced this episode upon you, so you should be the one to give it a rating.
No, fine. Okay, well, I will go with 5.5 out of 10, right in the middle of that 5 and 6. I can't really place a number on it, so we'll go between the two.
Okay.
Transfer complete.
And with that, with my arms wide open, I'm trying to think of what else I can say. With my arms wide open, podcast recording, Rob and Tom enjoy Darmok. And that will not be a very good impression of it, but yeah, I am going to get you to watch Star Trek The Next Generation. It's season 5, I think I said it was. Let me just check our chat very, very quickly.
So this is everybody. This is everyone's
This
homework.
is everyone needs to watch this. Series 5, Episode 2. It's on Netflix. It's on Paramount Plus, and that's the Star Trek Next Generation, and the episode is called Darmok. And the reason I'm making you watch it is because it will explain the character in Lower Decks that you didn't understand.
Yeah.
And it's a brilliant episode because it's Trek done right. Like we've said about Strange New Worlds doing legal properly and TNG doing the legal world properly. This is when Trek does things right. And this episode is purely about two people speaking completely different languages having to work out how to work as one to save themselves. That is it. And it's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And it also doesn't play out the way you think it's going to play out, which is the other nice thing about it. So season 5, Darmok, watch it by the next episode and we will discuss it more. And that was episode 2 of season 5. I don't know if there's anything else to say.
Thanks for listening.
Join us in 2 weeks for the next episode of currently untitled Trek Talk episode.
Yeah. And where can they find us?
That's a very good point. You can find us on almost every social media platform at the moment. That's the wrong page. Okay, you can. Thank you very much. Throw it over. You can find us on Twitter, Threads, TikTok, Insta, Blue Sky, all under @_channel 84 or @flatrob. The channel 84 one tends to be my profile, but it's also the main podcast one. And then Rob is at Flat Rob. You can head over to channel84.co.uk, and you can also get our Discord server, and we highly recommend you come to that. It's been our favourite thing we've set up recently. It's a lovely place to build a community, loads of places to talk not just about Star Trek but about the main episodes as well. And talking about the main episodes, every week between a release of the Star Trek episode, you will see our main episode, which is us talking about nostalgia and all sorts of different things. So please do tune in for that. If you're a fan of Star Trek, we're hoping you'll probably enjoy the main show as well. Finally, as you know, not finally, head over to the webpage, channel84.co.uk, if you want to grab the Discord server, that is. And then finally, you can email us at podcast@channel84.co.uk, and that will come to both Rob and me. Otherwise, you can email us separately at tj@channel84.co.uk or rob@channel84.co.uk. That is your lot.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah, thank you very much to everyone that's listened. Sorry it was a bit disjointed, but I think it's us exploring this new format of a show, and it's only going to get better.
Hope so.
It will.
Yeah.
As we aim to have Neelix killed.
There's the plan.
One day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Channel 84 Variety Show. This station is now shutting down and will be back in 2 weeks. Excelsior.